What is the cheapest item you can get delivered to you? So Uber Eats states that you have to buy at least one item to be eligible for delivery, but how small and cheap can that item be? Well, I started by looking at different fast food restaurants and scouring for their cheapest items, but this wasn't satisfying, and so I went to a grocery store listing and found a single banana for 21 cents, but I still figured it was a bit too big. And so I went back to fast food, and at McDonald's I found a way to add single condiments, where you can technically add a $0 honey packet to your cart and proceed to checkout. And so I did that, and I was charged $3.49 after all the fees, and I began to wait for my order to process. And it did, and I got assigned a driver immediately and a delivery window and started to wait for my single honey packet to be delivered. Unfortunately, however, the first driver canceled, likely because it was too small of an order, which was fine though because it was reassigned to a new driver, but he also canceled. But then it was reassigned again, but for the third time the person canceled. And I tried this over and over again, and none of the drivers on Uber Eats would accept the order, to the point where Uber Eats actually refunded me because there was nobody who would take the honey packet to me. Which means that you technically can order a single condiment, but good luck finding an Uber driver that will deliver it to you. Which actor has been in the most movies? So John Wayne holds the record for the Hollywood actor with the most leading roles with 153 movies, with Bette Davis being slightly behind him with 125. This falls significantly short though of Malaysian actor named Prem Nazir, who was a leading actor in 725 films, notably with 39 films with him as a lead role in 1979 alone. If we're accounting for minor credited roles though, Eric Roberts is actually the most prolific actor in Hollywood with over 880 film credits with 74 movies in 2017 alone. Right behind him with 730 films is James Hong. Frank Welker, the voice of Fred from Scooby-Doo, actually appears in 875 different films as a voice actor for different characters, which technically places him even higher than Eric. But even this falls short of the actor with the most total movies, which actually belongs to a Tollywood actor named Kananganti Brahmanandam, who has appeared in over 1,100 movies, recognized by Guinness as the most prolific actor ever. Unless you're accounting for extras though, in which case Tom London, an old westerns actor, appeared in 2,000 films as minor characters throughout the early 1900s, putting him on top. So now you know. Who is the most attractive celebrity? So according to a study conducted by Dr. Julian De Silva, the objectively best looking male celebrity was Aaron Taylor Johnson, whose total face has a 93.04% alignment with the golden ratio, which is nearly perfect. He's closely followed by Lucian Laviscount, Paul Mescal, Robert Pattinson, and Jack Loudon. For the best looking female celebrity, Jodie Comer was the most attractive with a 94.52% alignment with the golden ratio, followed by Zendaya, Bella Hadid, Beyonce, and Ariana Grande. And so while according to this study, Jodie Comer seems to mog everybody, historically there have been celebrities who theoretically ranked even higher, and this would include Gregory Peck, Paul Newman, and Cary Grant for men, and Marilyn Monroe, Audrey Hepburn, and Grace Kelly for women. If we're looking at the winners of the Most Beautiful Person in the World awards though, the record belongs to Julia Roberts, who has won it 5 times across 3 different decades with nobody coming close. But actually, according to a brand new study, scientists have assessed the faces of everyone in the public space, and they have concluded that Anya Taylor-Joy currently has the most attractive face of any public figure, having a golden ratio alignment of 94.66%, which is the highest in history. Here are some world records that will never be broken. So Robert Wadlow was the tallest man ever at 8 foot 11 inches, with the next closest being 2 inches shorter, so it's not likely that somebody will grow that large, especially with modern medicine to alleviate early growth development issues. The highest grossing movie of all time is Gone with the Wind, which, when adjusted for inflation, made $3.4 billion at the box office and sold 256 million tickets, which is 3 times as much as Avatar. The oldest person ever was John Culmen, who was 122 years old, which is 3 years older than the second oldest person, so barring any major medical advancement, the natural lifespan probably won't ever get past 120. Tsutomu Yamaguchi survived the most nuclear bombs ever, having been on a business trip to Hiroshima when the bomb was dropped there, miraculously surviving, and then upon returning to his hometown of Nagasaki, somehow survived that too, and then ended up living to 93. The longest fingernails by Sridhar Chalal of India reached 29 feet, which is probably not something that will ever be beaten. And finally, the world record holder for the most world records belongs to Ashrita Furman with over 600, and since Guinness doesn't hand them out easily anymore, this is likely never going to be broken. How rich are these fictional characters? Princess Peach? She's royalty, so that inheritance must be crazy. I bet she's a billionaire. Wow, what'd I say? Lightning McQueen had a pretty successful career, so I'm sure he's gotten himself a few hundred millions from like endorsements and prize pools. That's it? Wow, he's underpaid. He either has a lot of money or very little. I'm sure he has blood money actually from collecting emeralds, so maybe like 300 million. Geez, 10 billion? DK probably lives a pretty lean lifestyle. I don't think he values money, only bananas. He's probably detached completely, so maybe like 5K max. 286? Jeez, get your money right, DK. Brian's a train wreck. I don't even think he earns money, so 0. Wow, negative. Man's in debt. Mario's literal job is to collect coins, so I'm sure he's gotten a good amount over the years. Also with stars included, he's definitely got a few million. 800 billion? It's like triple of Elon Musk. And then Santa Claus? He transcends economies, so I'd say a few trillion. Infinite. Makes sense. I tried breaking the easiest world records. So since I have no talent, I wanted to see how I could sneak my way into the record books, and so I found 20 of the easiest records to break. Like eating a jelly donut without your hands in under 11 seconds, which was actually a lot harder than you'd think, or putting 5 t-shirts on within 12 seconds, which I think I actually grossly overestimated. My quest wasn't starting off too hot, and I started losing hope after failing to blow a 20-inch bubble, and also after trying to stack the world's tallest toilet paper tower. And I came really close to beating the record 48 clap push-ups in under a minute, and then luckily I actually beat the record for diamond push-ups in under a minute, getting 50. I'm also happy to announce that I beat the record for the most selfies in under 60 seconds with 378, and the fastest time to pack a school lunch in just 14 seconds. I also somehow tied the record for most eggs held in a hand at once, but definitely my favorite record of them all had to be the most post-it notes on a face at once, which was honestly a lot more difficult than you'd think. So go watch the full video to see the rest and to witness history. Which of these events is more common? I know they say once in a blue moon, but I don't think I've ever seen one, so they must be really rare. Then again, I've never heard of a blood moon. Let's go blood, though. Okay, cool. Wow, blue is pretty common, actually. I remember we had that one solar eclipse a few years ago. It was like a massive event. People went blind from it, I think. Shooting stars happen every night, I feel, somewhere in the world. Every 6 months. What are we even celebrating it then? I feel like every time there's a tsunami, it's worldwide news. There's always low-level hurricanes hitting even just America, so it's gotta be that. Okay, yeah, that was expected. Smile or frown? It would be sad if we frowned more than we smiled, so I'm gonna say smile. Wait, what? Oh wow, guys really aren't happy. That's shockingly low, jeez. I would say birthday because people are more prone to wild behavior when they're celebrating something, so definitely that. Okay, not sure if the logic was right, but we got there. And then... oh, obviously car accidents. Plane crashes never happen. Yep, cool. This is what pranks looked like throughout history. So in ancient Rome during the 1st and 2nd centuries, wealthy men would swap in fake wills at dinner banquets, tricking guests into thinking they inherited fortunes. In medieval France, where April Fools originated, assistants would be sent on important errands like delivering sealed documents to people that contain absolutely nothing on them. Medieval jesters would also do pranks involving illusion food by tricking people into eating wood that appeared as chicken, or even pies that exploded with live birds when cut open. During the 1600s was when the whoopee cushion was invented, with bladders filled with air placed below tavern stools to simulate a fart for whoever sat on them. And during the 1800s was when gaslighting was actually invented, with pranksters secretly dimming neighborhood gas lamps at night, tricking people into thinking that something is off but never revealing. And even later in that century was the turtle soup prank, in which chefs would swap their luxury soup with just basic veal or chicken to fake diners. The early 1900s saw pranks like car switching, where identical cars would be swapped overnight, and exploding cigars that would shoot out flour upon lighting them up. And as recently as the 1950s, male college students would do panty raids in which they would steal women's underwears from their dorms. That's wild. Here are celebrities that are related to historical figures. So Hilary Duff is famously an 18th generation descendant of the 14th century King Edward III, meaning she's the closest American celebrity to British royal lineage. Anderson Cooper is the great-great-great-grandson to Cornelius Vanderbilt, the Vanderbilts being one of America's richest dynasties, but was notably left with no inheritance because the family lost all their money in the 1970s. Ben Affleck is the 11th cousin to Obama, and Brad Pitt is actually 9th cousins with Obama. Brad Pitt is also a 25th cousin of King Henry II of England, as is Beyonce through her Creole roots. George Clooney is a half-first cousin, 5 times removed of Abraham Lincoln, while Tom Hanks is the 3rd cousin, 4 generations removed of the 16th president. Robert Pattinson is distantly related to Vlad the Impaler, the basis for Dracula, which is ironic because he played a vampire in Twilight, and Benedict Cumberbatch is the 16th cousin of King Richard III, and he actually played him on a TV show called The Hollow Crown. And finally, Bill Hader and Sir Christopher Lee are both direct descendants of the Roman Emperor Charlemagne, making him the most represented historical figure in all of media and celebrity. Pretty cool, right? Do these creatures actually exist? I feel like chupacabras are realistic. It's just like a dog or a dingo. I think that's what it's called. Sounds like a slur. But yeah, I bet these exist for sure. Krakens are just like giant squids before they were classified. Just some dude on a boat saw like a giant squid and then mislabeled it, so I believe this. No, mermaids are fake. It goes against like biology and like body composition. Probably some like horny sailors that made this up. A Yeti is just like some Sherpa in a dark coat that people mistakenly thought was like a moving snowman. That's the only explanation. Literally the same exact thing for Bigfoot, just some guy like traversing through the forest. I feel like every few years somebody releases like really low quality Bigfoot pictures and it's never convincing. I think recently there was one actually. Unicorns I guess could be real. It's just like a horse with a birth defect. The flying is probably just like somebody hallucinating. That can't happen. Dragons? Maybe, not the fire part, but like flying reptiles have always existed. And then a thunderbird? That's just Zapdos, so I guess.